We do have this breaking news this hour. A New York judge partially lifting the gag order against former President Donald Trump in the 2016 hush money election influence case. Now, the revised order now allows Trump to speak publicly about witnesses in the case. However, the former president still cannot talk about prosecutors or other individuals who took part in the trial. Notably, the timing of this, the lifted gag order comes 2 days before the debate against President Biden. Trump was found guilty on 34 criminal counts, you'll remember. This partial gag order will remain in effect until sentencing in July. Let's bring in Richard Schoenstein on this, trial lawyer and legal analyst. Richard, thanks for coming on and speaking about this. Now, Trump can speak about witnesses like Michael Cohen, like Stormy Daniels. He can't speak about prosecutors. Why the distinction?
Well, because the case is still going on in terms of his sentencing. The case is done in terms of witness testimony. So the reason he couldn't speak about those witnesses before was so as not to influence their testimony at trial. Michael Cohen is done testifying. Stormy Daniels is done testifying. They have no further participation in the case, so the judge is saying now it's okay to speak publicly about them, but not about the court and the prosecutors, because the process is still going forward to that July 11th sentencing.
Richard, what do you make of the timing here? This lifted gag order coming 2 days before that presidential debate, the first one of 2024. Is this just a coincidence?
It could be. I don't know if the judge had that in mind. It wouldn't be impossible that he thought about the need to free up Donald Trump to talk now this week in particular as the debate's coming up in the campaign. But it might just be the natural timing based on when the motion was filed and where the case itself is.
And we know the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg has been urging the judge to keep restrictions on comments on jurors specifically. He says because of concerns about their safety. Do you think that continues to be a real concern?
I do. I think there's a big concern. You know, I'm concerned personally about the extent to which we see public attacks on jurors and the judicial process these days. And it's not their fault. The jurors came in and they did their job. They heard evidence, they were given instructions, and they rendered a verdict. And I understand if you don't like the fact that he was prosecuted, that's fine. I understand if you don't like the verdict, but nobody should be going after the jurors. And we have to protect the integrity and safety of jurors or the system falls apart.
Now, what happens if Trump does break this new adjusted gag order? Is it just more fines that he's likely to pay?
Probably. I mean, he broke the past gag order, I think, 10 times, and all he ever got were nominal fines, more than nominal considering someone of his supposed financial worth. I don't really expect the judge to enforce them unless there was, you know, an excessive violation, something really severe, then it could go in another direction.
Interesting. We did hear the judge before, after he just kept paying those nominal fines, saying we will actually consider jail time if this keeps going on. If he egregiously violates this adjusted gag order, any chance that he could be prevented from attending the presidential debate, or is that time scale just not even possible in 2 days' time?
I really don't see that happening. And by the way, you may remember that last time he violated the gag order, the DA's office didn't even ask for jail time. They just wanted him to be told to stop, and they wanted him to pay a fine. They weren't trying to put him in jail for violating the gag order. But I don't see any realistic prospect that any of this is going to interfere with his ability to participate in a debate in 2 days.
Appreciate all the insight and time. Richard Schoenstein, thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.